And we are live. I'm Adam. This is Open Late. And Star, you make a very good point. This is open very late. It's been more than 2 years since this release, hasn't it? I think so. I was trying to figure out when it was, and I'm pretty sure that the Aether Wave was 2021 release, if I'm not mistaken. Although I could be mistaken. I'm not 100% certain. But this Malepharr I actually just picked up from eCollectibles.ca. Shout out to Mike at eCollectibles.ca. I don't know how he got more of these or like what the circumstances were. But for whatever reason, Malepharr was a figure that I passed on initially. So I was very, very happy to get the chance to pick this guy up, especially at retail price. He's not going for like crazy aftermarket pricing or anything like that, but it's nice to get it at retail price, from a retailer. So yeah. And so Hello Sinner, I literally just bought this little blue dude a week ago. Yep, I actually bought this. Whoa. My bad. I actually bought this a while ago. I bought this during the eCollectibles Black Friday sale. And I just didn't get it shipped till now. I wasn't in a rush to get it. I mean, let's be honest. It's been 2 years since it's been out. So it wasn't like I couldn't survive a little bit longer without getting Malepharr in hand. But anyways, here he is. The little blue demon from the Aether Wave. The Aether Wave was like chock full of demon types. Aether himself, Malepharr, Belphegor, so on and so forth. So let's take a look at the package and let's get this guy out of the box. We're just doing one tonight, so it's probably going to be a pretty short, pretty quick episode. But I just got the box in today, so that's why I didn't go live last night, because I was waiting for this box to arrive. And this box is gonna give me unboxing videos for the next 2 weeks or so. There's a lot of stuff in here. So anyway, let's take a look at this guy. So on this, you get this nice big window. Obviously, these collector friendly packages from Four Horsemen are fantastic. You get the faction sigil on one side. You get the bio on the other side with a little, look at that toothy grin. What a little beauty. And then the back, of course, from the Aether cards. This is one of my favorite cards. Like the back of the Aether card is one of my more favorite. It's a great weight. Like it still holds up. I know that there's been a lot of pretty major changes to the releases the Four Horsemen are doing. More wired soft goods and more new parts and stuff like that. There was new parts in this as well. Like a couple new torsos, I think. A bunch of new heads, so on and so forth. But this was a jumping on point for a lot of people, myself included. So as I said, just happy to have a second shot at getting this guy. So let's get him out of the box. It is the collector friendly packaging, so you just pop the little tabs, which I already did, and then you can just slide the card right off, which I'm going to do. All the accessories come in a bag. Now, this isn't a Ziploc bag like the newer releases, but that's okay. Now, I have a suspicion that this is like a re-release, or they found more stock or something like that, because instead of the twist tie up here, they've used like a normal, like a newer style sort of insert. If like it's more like what you get with like a G.I. Joe classified figure, something like that. So that was a little bit curious to me. Now, I don't know what that means. I don't know if that's just coincidental, whether, this is 1 in a million and it's the only one that has that. But who knows? I'm not complaining. I'm certainly not complaining. As I said, to be able to get this guy for retail from a retailer was pretty cool, as far as I'm concerned. All right, so first things first, I do the same thing every single time. So their arms tend to be oriented. Oh, that's not good. His little elbow pad thing is not where it should be. So I just like to align their arms first. I don't know if that's a weird thing. I'm going to align my camera. Hold on. Easier said than done, I know, but there, that's a little bit better. All right, so I can work a little bit better with this. I have my camera set up weird because with all my new hardware, my new computer and all that kind of stuff, I don't have the same space on my desk to set this up. So it's, you know, growing pains. I've had a few recently. But the first thing that I do with my Mythic Legions, as I said, or as I was saying, is I sort of align their elbows more to sort of what I think elbows should be and where they should be, what they should do. These little goblin arms, there's so many spiky bits and things all over this arm. And they kind of get in the way a little bit sometimes, in my opinion, because they all overlap and it's just kind of awkward. And I'm used to my camera being on this side, but it's on this side. But that being said, I mean, it's you know, everything else going on here is really, really great. What I didn't realize is that Malephar's got a bunch of gold on his chainmail. I thought it was just all gray, all black, more like the Goblin Legion builder. Oh, and he's got cloven feet as well. So he's got a few things going on here that are just a little bit different than what you get in a typical goblin. I mean, he's not a goblin, so there's blue on the horns, which I didn't realize. It looks very, very nice. Adds just a little bit of depth. A little bit. It pulls the sculpt out a little bit. The face is fantastic. Like, that is a fantastic little head. And this may surprise some of you, but I really like critters. I really like little creatures and stuff like that. So just a really, really solid figure. And I'm gonna adjust my camera one more time because I thought I had it set up how I wanted it, but I don't. And that'll do. I'm gonna leave it there and be done with it for the evening. Star says, looks like an evil plunderling. Yeah, it totally does, actually, now that I think of it. He's about the same size as well. I don't have a plunderling at hand, so I can't just grab one, but let's see. I'm just quickly scanning the chat to sort of see what else is going on in the chat there. Solo Center said the sculpt is too good. It's a really, really good sculpt. That head sculpt is fantastic. Jeff Morris is here. What's going on, Jeff? Jeff, I do the same thing. I have to adjust everything on all my figures to get them to look just right. Yeah, before I even like accessorize them or do anything with them, I usually just sort of get them into like just a completely generic vanilla pose, but just one that you know, I got to stand them up. I have to stand them up before I can do anything else with them. That's just how I roll. So, okay, I don't like how my camera is set up. So, bear with me for a second. I'm going to remove my camera. How do I remove my camera without removing my camera? Is there a way that I can do that? I don't think so. Star, this fig comes with partial wings, right? Yes, he does, and I will get there momentarily. Let me see if I can do this quickly. Okay, bear with me. This camera is driving me crazy, just the way that it's set up, because it's like backwards to me. So hold on, let me see if this is gonna work. I'm gonna pop the camera off for just a second. Okay, that looks way better in my mind, and the camera's where I want it to be. It's here. Before it was like over there, and I couldn't find it wasn't balanced right for me. So anyway, there we go. That's much better, and I can work with this. It's not a perfect setup. If you could see the space that, like, I'm just working in a tight space. It's all. Anyways, moving on. I'm driving myself crazy, but I'm glad that you guys are here to witness it. Mm. And I just realized that my banner still says we'll be starting shortly. Man alive. When I do this on a Thursday, I guess my brain just doesn't work the same on a Thursday as it does on a Wednesday, which is when I normally do these. So, okay, let's get into this. Now that I've got this set up and it feels more comfortable to me, I can actually take a look at this properly. So the first accessory that we get is, of course, this axe, and it's got this nice bronze paint to it, this metallic paint. Mythic Legions accessories are always like really, really sharp as far as their, well, they're actually sharp. I mean, it's pointy. Anything that's pointy is sharp, but the paint is always very sharp, very crisp. So he comes with that axe. Then we get this whole bag full of stuff. Let's take a look what we got. And it's a whole bag of fun stuff. We get a staff here that again has that nice bronze metallic paint on it. It's going to go with this trident, so that's going to plug right in the end there. There you go. That's sort of, in a couple of the pictures, that's the picture that they use, is this trident, which is a fun weapon in my opinion. It's a little bit different. It's not just a spear or whatever, so it's that's cool. I like getting those. You don't get a lot of those tridents, that's for sure. We get these, and if you know, you know. We got wing adapters. We got storage for the back. Those aren't any fun, and nobody cares about those. Nobody ever uses those. Most people don't use those. We get a strap. I love the strap. I have tons of these, and I love them. And I love having extras because you can put 3 or 4 on one character and get them to carry a ton of stuff. That's always one of my favorite things, is to have a figure that can carry a lot of stuff. And so I'm always happy to get those. I have, like I said, I have tons, and anytime I try to make like trades or deals or whatever with people, I always say like, hey, if you got any extra straps, throw them in there, because they're a lot of fun for kit bashing and stuff like that. There is a helmeted head in here, which has some great colors. It's a really dark, like, it's the finish on his armor and the finish on this helmet are very, very similar. And this is going to be a good way to sort of see that. Now, let me just adjust my light a little bit better. That is much better. You'll be able to see the helmet much better. So it's got this sort of beaten up gunmetal kind of dark gray finish. There's purple on either side of that center, the sort of center ridge. And then it's a dark gold and some of that bronze. So there's a little bit of the bronze that's on those, on some of the rivets, and then some gold on some of the details as well. So that is a very, very nice helmet. And I did not actually expect the helmet to look as nice as it does. I'm gonna like probably have to try to find something to put this on. I don't even like the helmeted heads, but what can you do? It also comes with wings, so these wings will go on the helmeted head at a later date when I want warm it up. No, they're gonna go on. So I can actually put these on and I'll show you what they look like. Do it off screen because it's way easier than doing it on screen. I say as I am still not able to do it off screen. No, that looks pretty good, pretty even. So you get these kind of like bat wings out of this helmet. I like these bat wings a lot. So these are on a few other helmets as well. So that is a really, really good looking helmet. Put that off to the side. We get the pauldrons, and the pauldrons match the helmet as well. So there's the purple, the gold, and that hammered, kind of worn, dark gunmetal color. So those look really good. Once I go through the rest of the accessories, I will attempt to put those on, but we will see. One of my favorite small swords in Mythic Legions. I can't remember what this one is called, but I want to say this is a dwarven sword in as far as like what it's named in the horseman's sort of armory that they have online there on Source Horseman. But I, a little bit of variety goes a long way with these figures, and we don't see a lot of this blade. So again, we don't see those bat wings very often. We don't see that helmeted head. We don't see that spear or the trident. Sorry, we don't see the sword very often. So just a lot of like little things together that make this guy kind of special, like kind of a little bit different than a lot of figures that I've got in my collection, which is why, as I said, I was really excited to get it. Then, of course, to sort of add to the critter. Well, no, you know what? I'm going to check in the comments, and then I'll come back to these accessories that add to his critterness. Let's see. Solo Sinner says, "Oh, why would it? I just love this guy because he's so wholesome." Me, not the blue demon. I'm not wholesome. I'm edgy. No, I'm not. I'm not even. I'm not that guy. Solo Sinner says, "Yeah, the head is dope, and the hooves are cool. They are. They are." Let's see. Game Quest is here. Good evening, all mythics. Indeed, good to have you, Game Quest. Let's see. Yeah, it's the Gorgo helmet, but not Gorgo. No, this is a slightly different helmet than the Gorgo helmet because it's a 2.0. And if you know what I mean by that, you know what I mean. But if you don't, I'll explain that a little bit better in a minute because I'm going to compare him. I'm going to compare this guy in terms of size to a couple other things. So this is not the Gorgo helmet. This is a 2.0 helmet, which means that no, how does it work? The 1.0 helmets will fit on 2.0, or is it the other way around? Anyways, it's designed for a 2.0 figure. The neck peg is a little bit different in terms of the size. So the helmet itself is a little bit different in size. Do I have a Gorgo helmet nearby? Yeah, I do. So I'll grab a Gorgo helmet. My nearest at hand Gorgo figure is actually not Gorgo at all. It's a silver horn sentry. So there's the Gorgo helmet, and there is this helmet. So they're similar. They've got sort of a similar aesthetic, but it is not the same. It's not the same at all. Way more detail on this 2.0 one for sure. Silver horn sentry is just going to sit next to me for now. Okay, I'm going to bump the camera. Great. Just when I thought I had it set up nicely. Star says, it was quite a long time before I realized that this guy is a demon and not a blue goblin. Happy and sad at the same time. He can be a blue. He can be a goblin. Why can't he? I mean, they're your toys. It's your headcanon. Use your headcanon. I'm sort of I think with the accessories, I think he's a blue demon. But why can't he be like so in Mythic Legions we have the shadow elves. Why can't he be like a subspecies of goblin? Right? Solar Sinner, the helmet is super cool, but the actual head sculpt is too dope to not use. Yeah, that's what's weird about this one, is that head sculpt is fantastic. And the fact that we get this helmet, which is definitely, I've said this before, I'm not a helmeted head collector. Anytime that a figure comes with an unhelmeted head, I prefer that one over the helmeted head. But this one is one of the better ones, for sure. I'm hoping that it matches some other things. Or he may get different pauldrons so that I can use that head and those pauldrons on something, if that makes sense. But so many of the 2.0 figures have really great head sculpts. So Star says maybe the blue demon horns would look good on the helmet. The blue demon horns. I don't know which horns you mean, but maybe. I mean, that's the beauty of Mythic Legions and how easy they are to pop and swap. So yeah, plenty of nights to use the helmet on, sure. Star says, much prefer the hooved feet on goblins. Wish there were more of them. I go back and forth. The hooved feet look great, but they on the smaller figures they're okay. Like on this guy they're fine. On Kronos they're fine. The Silverhorn Sentry, honestly, that guy falls over all the time. So I have the hooves on mine, but I'm probably going to switch to armored feet or leather feet. It doesn't have that Boba Fett visor look. Yeah, yep. Yeah, it does definitely look a little more like an actual, helmeted knight head and less Boba Fett. I agree. Let's see. Side question: are you going to LegionsCon 2024? I hope so. We will see. The plan as of right now is that I am going. But I honestly don't know. It's more down to it's more down to Jason at Spirit Toys than it is down to me. It's a very expensive trip for me to make, all the way from Western Canada to the Eastern. Well, it's not the Eastern Seaboard, I guess, but the East Coast. I can't separate them now. This guy's the ancient damn Plunderling, king of the Plunderlings' netherworld, looking to ruin the rest of the Plunderlings' lives. Jay says, I swapped the bigger hooves on my blue demons. That would actually look really, really cool. Like an oversized demon hoof. Don't the black horns detach from the demon head? I don't. If they do, I don't think they're the same shape. Like, I don't think that they would just plug straight into the helmet. But now I want to grab a Plunderling. Oh, this is a suitable one. So there's Goyle. All right, so since I got Goyle on the table, let's quick. Oh no, wait, I'm not done with the accessories. Wait, Goyle, get out of here. You're not welcome yet. Okay, so critter wise, this guy also comes with these mini half wings. So these are basically like the standard wings, but instead of having a big piece that sort of pegs on here, they just have a very small piece. So it's the first joint of the wing, but not the big piece of the wing. And I think they look pretty cool. I mean, I think they look pretty badass. Now, the real question is, do I use the adapter or just plug him right in and have him not use pauldrons? Because that could be the way around those pauldrons getting used. somewhere else. So for anybody that isn't familiar with this, and I will use these because I just realized that he has wings. So these little bits are the wing adapters, and you get two because the old style of wings had a very, very small peg. These do not. These have the standard sized peg, which will plug into the bigger adapter. Those will just plug in there. This sort of rectangular peg will plug into that rectangular hole in the center of his back. There you go. And then you will have wings for this guy. I think most of you guys know Mythic Legions well enough that I'm probably not explaining this to you guys. I'm explaining this to anybody that, you know, isn't a Mythic Legions collector. So so you have the wing adapter, and then you have the wings that go on there. Now, the holes in the wing adapter are technically the same size as the holes that are designed for these pauldrons to mount onto. So if you don't want to use the adapter and you don't care if you have pauldrons, you can plug these straight into this guy's back. And there you go. They'll sit a little bit tighter. They'll be a little bit like, it'll just give you a little bit of a different aesthetic. Now, I'm not going to do it because you always want to heat this up before you plug that stuff in. Otherwise, it usually doesn't fit, to be perfectly honest. It's a very, very tight fit. And I don't want to force it. I don't want to break anything. He also comes with a tail, and I love when creatures and critters and things like that have tails. This is a great one. It's kind of like spiny, almost like some sort of lizard or dragon. And then at the end, you get this spiky, spiny, you know, weapon of a tail, which is really, really cool. I can't wait to get this sort of all put together. Now, my only complaint is that they don't use any sort of like joint. So this plugs right in, and then it's not going to move. Like, it doesn't really, like, there's no articulation, because it's just, he's got a hole, got a hole in his butt, which I'm not going to show you because it doesn't want to come off. But that's, you can sort of see that there's a plate. You can see that it doesn't quite line up. There's like a bit of a seam there. It doesn't quite line up. So that will pop out. Tail will pop in just like that. Popped right out, of course. But all of it's interchangeable. Very, very easy to heat up and pop pieces apart and swap them with other pieces. So just really, really fun figures. As I said, I'm not gonna go and force anything, but yeah, super fun figure. And if you want to see him with the tail and with the wings and so on and so forth, sourcehorseman.com, and then go to the Mythic checklist, look him up. He is a great looking figure. Star, now I want to see Demon's head and wings customized on a blue Plunderling. There isn't one that quite I mean, Goyle, as I said, Goyle is the closest, but the blues don't match. You know, if you put them right next to each other, you can see that Goyle is more of a sort of gray blue. This is sort of a very true sort of pale blue. It's a great color. Like, it's a fantastic color. And then there's a wash over it as well. It looks really, really good. Like, probably better in hand than any of the pictures that I'd seen previous. But anyway, there he's now, you know, the evil Plunderling. Game Quest, don't grab a Plunderling. I can't collect anything else. You got, like, these are small. Plunderlings are small. I only got them at Legion's Con, and I'm hooked. I want more of them. Let's see. Jay says, I'm totally over Legions right now. Game Quest, Mythic Legions aren't over you, Jay. Oh, Jay, that reminds me. I've got a Mythic Legions figure to send you. It showed up. It showed up today. So I'm going to be shipping it out right away so that you can have it, so you can get switched back on. Let's see. All right. I'm more or less caught up in the comments there. So let's. Can Plunderlings and AWOC ever meet on common ground? Hey, Goyle and Pale are my travel companions. They travel together. They're best buds. They're travel companions, and they're my travel companions. So they're they always go where I go. So yeah, those lines look fantastic together. Now, as far as this guy compared to other, that's fun, isn't it? The autofocus, isn't this fun? This guy compared to other Mythic Legions, very quickly, let's take a look at some other baddies. So there is just a goblin that is Swig. I've got this guy, the Bog Goblin. Let me get some of this stuff out of the way so I can put them on sort of an even setting. So you can see Malepharr and the Bog Goblin are pretty close in size. Swig's a little bit taller. He's a little bit taller than a couple of the goblins. I noticed that. I don't know why, but they're very, very similar in height. 2.0, 2.0, 1.0 dwarf. And then let's substitute this, or let's just move this guy out of the way, move this guy over. And then we can take a look at another 2.0 goblin body, but on a good guy, on Thistlethorn, the Fuzz Monk, who is technically a goblin. So this is why I say, like, that's a standard goblin. That's a Fuzz Monk, which is a subspecies of goblin. So why can't he? Malepharr could be another subspecies of goblin. I don't see why not. And then comparing them to a 1.0 figure. So I was saying 1.0 versus 2.0. So this is a 1.0 figure. So they're bigger, they're taller, they're thicker. And that head will not fit on that body. It's a different size peg. So there you go. A little bit of a spectrum. 2.0s and then a pair of 1.0s either end. So that's what's up. These are some of my favorite Mythic Legions. Like I said, I love the critters. I love the sort of animals and all that kind of stuff. So Malepharr fits right in, and I was kicking myself for not getting him. And when eCollectibles offered him up, I actually messaged Mike and I was like, "Is this a mistake? Like, did you just reload something that shouldn't be up here?" And sure enough, he had them in. So I decided that it was time for me to get a Malepharr, and I'm very, very happy that I did. Very cool figure. Now I kind of want another one, but anyway. Yeah. Jay says, I think I have all the goblins. Lucky you, there's a whole bunch of goblins that I don't have that I wish I did. A lot of the goblins were in Advent of Decay, which was a little bit before I got into the line. And so I've slowly been sort of adding to my collection. The goblins are fun because all the goblins have unique head sculpts. I'm not a big fan of the knights because you get like two different knight heads and then they all have the same body. Whereas the goblins, at least they have unique heads with unique facial expressions and stuff like that. So that's one thing that I think the goblins have going for them. Game Quest, is he still available by chance? I missed the vendor's name. eCollectibles.ca. It's down there at the bottom, scrolling. I think he still has some left, believe it or not. He's in Canada, but he will ship internationally, and it's like a flat rate. I think it's flat rate of like $15 or something like that, which to me is very, very reasonable. Depending on where you are. If you're in the US, the exchange rate is really going to help you out too, because the exchange rate for us in Canada really sucks. But anyway, yeah, ecollectibles.ca. I was talking with Mike from eCollectibles today about what I will be ordering from the Rising Suns wave, and I'll be getting that through Mike as well. So Mike is definitely my go-to guy for Mythic Legions in Canada, and Cosmic Legions, and GI Joes, and SH figure. Like, I buy everything from Mike eCollectibles, so definitely check them out. Tibius just arrived yesterday. Tibius is a cool figure. I had Tibius. I don't think I do anymore. I'm not a big skeletons guy. You know, those characters just aren't fleshed out enough for me. There's I tell that dad joke every chance that I get. But yeah, the skeletons just don't do as much for me as you know, some of the other things. Like I said, I like the critters, I like the beasts, I like all that kind of stuff. The so Balam. So this is Balam, for anybody that sort of doesn't know these guys very well. This is Balam, Thistlethorn, Malepharr, Swig, and Bog Goblin. I think he's just called a Bog Goblin, if I'm not mistaken. Or some kind of goblin. But anyways, but Thistlethorn is my favorite figure in Mythic Legions, and Balam is my third favorite figure in Mythic Legions. So the sort of critters and beasts and stuff like that are my jam. They're my favorites, and I'm always excited to get more, Malepharr included. Like, he's sort of right up my alley, very much in my wheelhouse. So again, all the more reason that I was excited to get him. And all the more reason that I have no idea why I didn't get him in the first place, to be perfectly honest. I think at that time I was trying to play catch up with a lot of things, and so I was looking at some of the older, you know, when I looked at this guy and had the opportunity to buy this guy, I was admittedly looking for things like Thistlethorn and Balam. So I was playing catch up a little bit, and as a result, didn't get some things that I probably should have when I had the chance, and have to play catch up on them too. So that's the advice. If you're getting into Mythic Legions, buy what's available now and catch up later, or don't, because you don't need to, because there's too much cool stuff coming out anyway. Let's see. Game Quest, nor was I. Scapular changed everything. Well, I've had a bunch of the skeletons. Like, I've had 4 or 5 different skeletons, and they don't hold my attention. They're just not as fun. Now, I have skeletons on the way. I've ordered skeletons in the Necronominus wave, as well as the All-Star 6 wave, and that Scapular will be a figure that I will pick up as well. So it's not that I'm not anti-skeleton or anything like that. I just, they have to be really special to really grab my attention, and so it's a bit harder for them to do that. And every time a new skeleton gets announced, it's like a huge step forward in terms of accessories and stuff like that. I've gone for those ones and gotten rid of some of the more basic ones. So Star says, is he a part of the House of Fenris? I don't know what House of Fenris is, but maybe. The big cat guy. Balam is Basilia. What Convocation of Basilia. Star says, many of these Mythic Legions could be cannibalized for customizing some AWOCs into some pretty amazing forms. Yep, absolutely. There's a lot of good parts here. They don't plug and play very well, sadly, but but you definitely can. I mean, if you're creative, you can definitely do a lot of crossover stuff with this. So I completely get it about skeletons. It's just basking in my newfound appreciation. Yeah, like the new skeletons are fantastic. I just like skeletons and knights are I mean, they just don't they just don't do it for me. You know what I mean? They just skeletons and knights just feel a little Um, I don't know. I don't know. There's just it's like it's preference, right? Buy what you like. That's what you know. That's what we do. And I just don't like those ones as much as I like some of the others. Star says, "What's the tribe of cats in Awok called?" Feralist. House Feralist. That's the yeah. Yes, Jay, I am a hater. I hate skeletons. Hate such a strong word. When I was young, I had I sort of knew a guy, and anytime people would say I hate that they hated something, that's all he would say. He wouldn't tell them not to say it. He would just say hate is such a strong word. And I've sort of adopted that. I I I I just generally don't say that. I don't hate anything because it is a very strong word. It's a very loaded word. I think we use it much more than we should. But anyway, that's a whole, different dumb thing. Justin Mohan says, "Do you think AWOC will do any more sci-fi stuff?" Well, Justin, as it happens, I was chatting with Jason today, insisting that there should be more sci-fi stuff. Justin, are you reading the Animal Warriors of the Kingdom comic book? Just out of curiosity. The reason that I ask is because in the comic book, I mean, it's the comic book. I've said this to Jason, and I'll say it to you guys. That's true. That's my wife commenting that says you hate doing the dishes. I do. That's one thing that I do hate. I hate doing dishes. Justin says I got to pick up the first issue. Do it. Do it now. Get the PDF version of it. It's like $2 on spiritoys.com. Place the order, now. Open another window, place the order, and I will process that order and make sure that you get that PDF in your inbox within the next hour or so. The comic book is so different from the line. I think people see the toys and they think it's like a fantasy line similar to Mythic Legions. It's not. It's so much a sci-fi IP. And so I said to Jason, you need to add more of that in to future waves. Justin said, "I'm ordering it from my comic shop." Do it. Yes, do it. Order the physical. The physical is coming in March, but the PDF, like I said, it's like $2 on spiritoys.com. Just get the first one. Or Justin, you know what, Justin? Message me on Instagram tonight. And if you're not Justin Mohan on Instagram, just say, "Hey, it's Justin Mohan from YouTube reaching out on Instagram." I'll get you that. I'll get you that PDF copy. I'll hook you up. You just got to message me on Instagram. Game Quest, come for the Mythic Legions, get AWOC insights. Subscribed. Yeah. Well, for any of you that don't know, I work for Spiro Toys. So if you want insights, all you got to do is sit through 40 minutes of Mythic Legions talk, and it'll come out. Star says, "Off topic, desperately need another AWOC lore talk episode very soon." Yes, and we have the second part of the Utama interview, and we will have another comic-based lore video soon. Brick and I are just both playing catch up on some other stuff and some life stuff, so it's kind of been put on the back burner a little bit, and we apologize. We want to do it as much as you guys want to consume it. It's just a matter of finding the time. So Solo Center says, "Craving AWOC content." Well, okay, so issue 5 should be out by now. It's not, because two things. Jason's cat spilt coffee on his computer, and he doesn't save stuff to a cloud. So he had to restart a whole bunch of the stuff that he had to do for issue 5. Then you know, when they decided that they were going to do the print, like reprint issues 1 through 4, issue 5 kind of got put on the back burner. So at the moment, now this is terrible news, but you might not get issue 5 for a while. But in the meantime, you will get the Kickstarter. So Animal Warriors of the Kingdom is doing another Kickstarter. It will go live in March, early March. And the figures are bangers. All of them are absolute bangers. I think people are going to struggle to pick figures that they can skip. Because if you like Animal Warriors of the Kingdom, you're gonna like, if you like what we got in the first few waves, you're gonna absolutely love what is coming in the Kickstarter. And I say that as a fan first. There's so much cool stuff coming. There's so much cool stuff coming, and every day Jason's like, "Hey, should we add this?" And I'm like, "Heck yeah, we should add that." There's so much cool stuff coming from Animal Warriors of the Kingdom. So, Game Quest, who skips Animal Warriors of the Kingdom figures? I don't know, but you know, this is going to be. There's a couple builders in the Kickstarter, but most of it is like new characters, or not new characters, but like new figures of characters that are in the comic book. You know, there's different body types, different bucks, just a whole bunch of good stuff. So something really bad is about to happen to the cat tribe, thanks to a spilled drink. No, that's, well, something bad might happen to that cat, but not. Game Quest, just have to pre-order another Chunari Legionary while we wait for more AWOC content. That'll show you. I don't think there's any. Is the Chunari Legionaries? There's one. There's, which one's the Legionary? I can't remember now. But the like the first Chunari Trooper, I think, is sold out. So hopefully you got as many as you need. Let's see. Justin Mohan, are there any other toy lines that can be done with the molds that Spiro has? I think they would make great Battle Beasts. The Battle Beast thing, like, there's another company that's kind of doing a Battle Beast thing, and it's a little too on the nose. So I think Jason doesn't really want to go that route. But I don't know, maybe one day I could see something like a con exclusive colorway. But if I'm being fully transparent, there's not going to be time for that. Honestly, there's so much cool stuff coming that there's just not there's not room in the schedule for that at the moment. So let's see. Justin Mohan, it would be cool to have a big Bruiser Snake Man type character like there's no big Bruiser Snake Man, but there is lizards. There's two. You've probably seen the prototype for the blue one already. But there's another one in the Kickstarter, and then there's a stretch goal third one in the Kickstarter. They're very, very good looking figures. I've seen the Paint Masters. They're fun. Solo Center, I don't know how Spiro managed to absolutely crush it on perfect quality in wave 1. I don't either. It's like, I don't either. Like, right out of the gate, just the quality and the engineering and everything is phenomenal. You're absolutely right. Chunari Centurion, yes, the gold one. That's a great figure. However, they're not in stock, so if you put that order in now, you won't get it till February. Yeah, I'm just filling time because I usually go about an hour, but I only had one figure, so. But yeah, let's see. How do they compare? How does he compare to a Chunari Centurion? That's how he looks next to Chunari Centurion. And how does that look next to who else? Okay, so that's a good guy. Let's get a bad guy too. Let's get Blight in here. No, I don't. I know which one I want. Because this guy's got purple, so he's kind of got a bit of matching stuff going on there. Yeah, that shot doesn't work because he's too tall. He's way too tall. Oh well. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, lizards are cool. I saw the prototype. So that prototype that you saw. Sorry, I'm just putting that figure back on the shelf because otherwise he's gonna fall over and I'm gonna be upset. The prototype that you saw for that blue lizard, his name is Cravius. And so that body is going to be used for 2 other figures, but there's going to be a new head, and I won't tell you what the other sort of lizard. Oh man, I can't wait for you guys to see this stuff because there's some really cool stuff happening. There's another lizard, like I said, that will be the second lizard in the Kickstarter, and then a third lizard, which will be sort of the army builder for the lizards, the lizard sort of tribe. And I won't tell you the tribe's name because I can't pronounce it anyway. Jason likes to have weird spellings of certain things. So, Star. January 21st, Monkey Business, the next live. So on Sunday, January 21st, Brick and I will be getting together to do Monkey Business, which is our just live chat. Maybe we'll just do like a live chat question and answer type thing because I don't have anything else planned. Yeah, Solo Sinner, that Beast and the Dragonfly are kind of the 2 that I'm pushing for. I think it would probably have to be another Kickstarter, so that might be Kickstarter number 3. We'll see. But Kickstarter number 2 is going to be basically like 4, well, like 2 waves. Split. I don't know how it's going to ship, but the Kickstarter is going to sort of represent the next year, I think, of releases, give or take. I don't know. Star Void. Void is very likely going to ship with Wave 4, and there's been a couple delays with Wave 4, so we probably won't see Wave 4 until June, unfortunately. Do you think Jason would add any prehistoric animals? Read the comic book. I think it's unlikely, just based on the comic book. But it's his IP, so maybe. It's entirely possible. We sort of discussed it, and it's I don't want to spoil it for you since you haven't read the comic book. But if you read the first issue of the comic book, you'll probably get a better idea of what you might see in the line, and it kind of explains why certain things aren't in the line too. People have asked about like tails on the animals, which it isn't likely going to happen anytime soon. But that's anyway. Justin says, imagine if dinosaurs somehow ended up being part of the story. But here's the thing. If you want dinosaurs, and this is me as a Spiro employee secondary and as like a toy fan first. If you want dinosaurs, Cyberzoic, just saying, it's out there. You can go get some Cyberzoic stuff. That's what I'm doing to get my dinosaur fix. And shoot, I don't know why I always forget this because I actually chat with Matt all the time. Ideas from Mars doing the Armies of Ashmore figures. Those are going to fit perfectly with Animal Warriors of the Kingdom. So I don't think there's really any need. Justin, there is Saurozoic Warriors. I have my feelings about those. I will not be buying Saurozoic Warriors, but yeah. Let's see. But yeah, if you want, like I said, if you want dinosaur action figures to fit with your AWOC figures, the Armies of Ashmore would be the figures that I think are sort of the most in line in terms of design aesthetic, in terms of like even in terms of the lore, you know what I mean? Like there's that sort of sci-fi medieval crossover. Matt did Armies of Ashmore based on some like He-Man fan created characters in the Defenders of Eden, and so it kind of it fits really really well with what Jason's doing with the Animal Warriors of the Kingdom stuff. I think sort of stylistically and so on. AWOC's not a Motu tribute thing at all, but I hope you sort of get my meaning there. They share that sort of sci-fi, but swords. You know, if that makes sense. They're sculpted by the Four Horsemen. Yes, they are. Yeah, and they're fantastic figures. I've had them in hand. They're way heavier than I thought they were going to be. They're way bigger than I thought they were going to be too. Does Jason have the entire narrative of AWOC plotted out, or is he open to changing material on short notice if he likes it? He does adapt. He has the next couple story arcs mapped out. But you know, there's always room if you know, until it's on paper, there's always room to adapt and change and stuff like that, right? So Justin Mohan, I like the indie stuff. It's nice to see new stuff and new ideas. I completely agree. I'm finding that's like all I buy. The GI Joe Classified is the only thing that's really still sort of keeping my attention as far as big IPs go. There's so many lines that I kind of have all the figures that I need. You know, I have all the characters that I need. Transformers, I'm done with. Star Wars, I'm done with. GI Joe, there's a few more, but I'm starting to get pickier with the GI Joe stuff. Even I think that the original IPs that people are doing is got two things going for it. Well, it's got a few things going for it. One, it's just a little bit more exciting because it's fresh and it's new. It's got cool people behind it most of the time. You know, these are small companies run by cool folks that are just passionate collectors like we are typically. And what I realized recently is that when I was a kid, I was always in the toy aisle picking up the new line. I didn't stick to like one IP. I wasn't one of those kids that just had GI Joe or just had Transformers or just had Motu. I had two or three of so many lines, and so I'm finding that with the creator driven stuff, the indie lines, I'm just finding I'm having that nostalgic itch scratched as well. So I'm loving the indie stuff. Animal Warriors of the Kingdom is my absolute favorite toy line right now. But that being said, there's you know others that are doing really cool stuff. As I mentioned, Armies of Ashmore, Plunderlings, Mythic Legions. I think is still kind of right there. In some ways. In other ways, I'm kind of like, okay, another skeleton. I've got a skeleton. Do I need another one? Another knight? Do I really need one? Do I need another elf? Do I need another dwarf? Kind of thing. So I'm getting to the point where I don't need more Mythic Legions. So the figures really have to, interest me. And in some cases, they replace another Mythic Legions on the shelf. And then, like I said, the Cyberzoic stuff, it's not a scale that I've been collecting. It's 1/18. I'm going back to a scale that I thought I was kind of done with. But you put lasers on the backs of dinosaurs, and I am in. So there it is. Justin Mohan, I will answer this very, very quickly, but I won't go too deep. Matthew Rodriguez, who did Armies of Ashmore, took his designs to the studio that did Saurozoic, and they went back and forth and they had discussions and on and on and on. And then sort of out of the blue, they said, we're not interested anymore. And then about 6 months later, Saurozoic Warriors came out. So take from that what you will. Jay says, I grabbed a Masterverse Ram Man today. Masterverse is a deep, dark rabbit hole that I am not going down. Game Quest, how did I not know Four Horsemen helped with Ashmore? No wonder I was drawn to them pre-ordered. Yep, exactly. And that reminds me, Legendary, the Legendary action figure line, Meta Travelers, those look fantastic, and those are Four Horsemen as well, and those will fit with your Animal Warriors of the Kingdom, and I've got those on order too. So there's just so much cool stuff coming up. There's only so much a person can buy of the same thing. Only so many Batman, Star Wars, etc. Yes, exactly. And I'm guilty. I mean, I buy Black Series the Black Series Luke Skywalkers, and I buy like every version of Snake Eyes that they'll put out for G.I. Joe. So there's certain instances where I'm kind of guilty of that, but yeah, I get your point for sure. Star, I've been getting deeper and deeper into AWOC ever since I found out that it's not just about apes and that these beings were once human. Don't spoil it! Justin's just about to find that out. Jay says, I need Chris Star. I'm kind of... Yeah, I might get Chris Star. Jay, I do want a few harvesters. What's a harvester? What is that? No, I want that. No, I don't, because I don't know what it is. But I might if I did. And Game Quest is just adding to it. Yeah, that aspect of AWOC was awesome to me as well. Okay, the cat's out of the bag. Justin, you got to get issue 1. Justin says, we need some companies to do some fantasy figures that are like Motu Origins. I'm surprised more companies are not doing them. There are lots of O-ring indie companies. Yeah, that's a tough one, because I think if you do, I think what you mean is like that form factor, that like, what are they, 5.5 inches and kind of oversized, broad shoulders, narrow waist. Like if that's what you mean, I think the problem is if you do a figure like that, it's really people just look at it as a Motu figure. So you're kind of, you're not pigeonholed, but you almost have to do a Motu adjacent line. Like that shape and size, I think, is just dominated by Motu, if that makes sense. Which is why I think you don't see many people doing it. I think you have to be intentionally doing a Motu adjacent thing to use that scale and that sort of general shape. Star says, I'd like to see these larger companies start taking some risks with new figure lines. So far, it's only the newer guys taking risks and reaping the rewards. Those companies just are risk averse. I mean, that's what it comes down to. They weren't, in the 80s, they absolutely weren't, but they are now. So, Jay says Galaxor is 5.1. What's Galaxor? Jay, you've always got really great insights that don't make any sense. I don't know what a Galaxor is. But there is, what's the Dragonor? There's like the Dragonor line, and that's an independent line. So, if you want an independent line in that sort of 5.5 inch scale that fits with Motu, check out Dragonor. The figures look fantastic. I'm not a Motu guy. I don't own a single Motu figure. I mean, at Legions Con, I saw those Dragonor figures, and I was like, maybe I need a couple of these. I'm thankful that I didn't buy them, but they look really good. Yeah, Justin, this is exactly it. It's a sure thing to do something that we are all familiar with as opposed to something new that might fail. I think beyond that, if you do something like G.I. Joe or Star Wars or Masters of the Universe or whatever, right? You have casual fans. You have the people that were, the people that had a Luke Skywalker figure when they were 8 years old. They see one on the shelf. There's more chance that they're going to buy that than they're going to buy Pale and adventure armor, because they just don't have a connection to it, right? The things that people have a connection to, the things that have that nostalgic factor going for them, are money in the bank. Oh yeah. So okay, you know about Formal. Yeah, that's other than that, I don't know of any others. I had some idea for why they were made animal. Well, they were made animalistic because that's what Jason wanted to do. Game Quest. Speaking of indies, someone should make one of those Ninja Turtles into figures. Probably some money to be had there. Yeah, exactly. But I mean, that what like, Ninja Turtles was one. I learned this on a TV show. Like Playmates took a chance on Ninja Turtles, and made an absolute boatload of money. Jay says nostalgia is real, like real. And what the little guys, what the original IPs need to do is sort of like tap into that. So the ones that are doing comic books, the ones that are planning to do, videos or what have you, like you need to grab people in the same way that those old IPs did. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Like Animal Warriors of the Kingdom feels familiar to me, even though it's a brand new IP. And I think that's you have to find that. You have to find that sort of connection. You have to find that inspiration that really hits. And Cyberzoic kind of does it for me as well, because to me, Cyberzoic is like Dino Riders meets Dinotopia meets Blade Runner. That's my sort of interpretation of it. But anyways, you're absolutely right. It's different. The toy aisle isn't the same. Saturday morning cartoons aren't the same because they're not Saturday morning. They're 24/7 now. So you just have to do it different. You just have to find a different way. Still hoping for some really high quality generic cyberpunk figures. Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised that hasn't been done. I mean, that's one that I think might have some appeal. I mean, maybe who knows? Maybe somebody's got one of those around the corner. Maybe there's a toy line coming up. It's getting to that point, isn't it? That like if you can think of a toy line, it's somebody's sort of probably figuring it out. Anyway, we've gone over an hour now. I've opened Malepharr, and that's done and dusted. So I am going to wrap things up. It's been an absolute blast hanging out with you guys, as I say every time, and I really do mean this. It is way more fun opening toys with friends. So thank you guys for being here and hanging out with me. I look forward to doing this again. This is exactly how I feel every time, Star. It doesn't feel like an hour. It definitely doesn't feel like an hour. I've done way longer, and my wife's like, "Why are you so long?" Yeah, because it's fun. It doesn't feel like an hour. Anyways, it's been an absolute pleasure. Join me again. I will have stuff to open next Wednesday. Like I said, I got a whole big box of stuff from eCollectibles. And so I have a pretty good idea of what I'm going to open next week, and it should be a fun one as well. So hopefully you guys can join me for that. A couple more unboxing videos going up in the next couple days. And on Sunday, I will be talking about space danger, basically. What do you do when you have too much stuff? Do you sell it? Do you box it up? How do you make more room? Do you have to get rid of stuff? Can you just pretend you have less? I don't know. That didn't loop, so let me turn that back in. But anyway, until next time, bye-bye.